and by the Brazos Landing. Live show at the Brazos Landing tomorrow, noon to 1. Come join us there. Let's welcome in now from Baylor Softball, Getterman Stadium, the Getterman Complex, Steve Johnigan, Baylor Softball assistant coach, kind enough to join us this morning, stepping away from some meetings, right, Hoot?
Yeah, it is. It's always those meetings you kind of dread. It's the end of the year. The exit meetings, kind of trying to recap the year and challenge and motivate to go out in the summer and see where we need to improve and stuff. So it's kind of, it's a bittersweet. It never happens when you want it to happen unless you win that last game. So we're going through some meetings and now just kind of getting some things straight.
I got you. Tell us what you can. Don't give away any secrets, but what's that like? Y'all meet individually with each player, kind of recap the year and look to the future, or what's that like?
Yeah, it is. It's we ask them to text us their evaluation. So before we go into the meeting, we see how they saw the year. Okay,
gotcha.
And hopefully it matches up. Hopefully they're seeing what we see, and what we need to work on and stuff. But no, they come in and all the coaches are in there, and we all share our thoughts. Even though one's a pitching coach, one's a hitting coach, and you got the head coach, one's defense. We all see things from a different area, and we cover everything on the field, off the field, from academics to spiritual to emotional to softball and all that kind of stuff. So it's been fun to watch these kids grow up and mature, and that's the fun part about coaching in general. Is to watch them develop, watch them grow, not only on the field, but off the field as well. And so we go through a little bit of that. And then, we look in the future. What's your plans for the future? For the summer? What are you going to be working on? Who are you working out with? All those kind of things to try to figure out, give them the best chance to come in here next fall and compete for a starting position.
Yeah. Are some of those meetings sort of soul searching? I mean, kind of, very, very honest between y'all, between the coaches and the players?
Absolutely. So that means they can get uncomfortable, no doubt.
Yeah.
So it's the day that we coaches always dread because it's all every 15 minutes. We're going to do 23 of them today. And we started at 8:30 this morning, and every 15 minutes somebody comes in there. And, we'll go to about 3:00. And so it's a grind. But, again, it's something you have to do. I know the kids are ready to go. They've got to check out of the dorm and stuff and get going. But, yeah, they are. You got to be brutally honest. And those are and, again, hopefully you're both on the same page. They see their weakness. You see their weakness. Hey, here's how we can improve that and work on that. Here's some things to do. And let's go out and do it. Then the ball's in their court for the summer, which is the scary part from a coach's perspective because we can't coach them in the summer, is, okay, what are you doing for 3 months, And you know what? They can tell us what they're going to do, but we'll know what they do when they come back in the fall and we'll say, you either did or you didn't. And most of the time they do. It's really cool. You see their commitment to it and all that kind of stuff. And you think, oh, wow, okay, you did work on this. And it makes them a better player on the field too. So it's kind of fun to watch that as well.
That's cool. Thanks for sharing. End of the season this past weekend, the Austin Regional ran into a really good Texas team. But I say congratulations to you guys for getting to that regional. It was down to the wire. Your strength of schedule certainly helped get you there. But, you'd like to still be playing, but to end in a regional and the championship game is a good season.
Yeah, it really is. And, it was kind of nip and tuck there at the very end. First of all, we had to do so much that last series against Tech in Lubbock to even get to the Big 12 tournament, because that was not solidified until after we got the win there. And this is how crazy this game is. You look at and Arizona State, speaking of them, they had the same thing going in. They were not guaranteed. They were 8th going into the last weekend, and they had to sweep to get in. And now look at them. They're going to a super regional, but it just goes to show that, you get hot at the right time, you get on a roll, and you get in that game, and anything can happen. And so that's why you just want to get to the big dance, so to speak. And so, our girls did. We pulled out a big-time win up there in Lubbock to get into the Big 12 tournament, even though it was the 8th seed. But you know what? They kind of prepared us for, we got to face Tech again in the Big 12 tournament. But when you face those pitching that you have, almost anything you see in regionals is not going to be like that.
Yeah.
But until you get to teasing with Texas. But So anyway, it kind of helps you prepare. You just got to get them back up mentally. But we really felt like our RPI was good enough. All the things that they look at to select you, strength of schedule to 10th in the country, those are things that people on the outside may not understand. They see our overall record and say, oh, they're probably not. But no, we were rewarded for our strength of schedule. We're not playing just anybody. And so we got in. We were excited to get in. Of course, Texas is a tough regional, the number 2 seed overall. We knew that. But Wisconsin was the number 2 seed in that regional too, and came out and struggled a little bit that first game, but bounced back against Wagner, got some momentum, was able to win the next game against Wisconsin, carry over that momentum. Hitting's contagious. We were doing it all, and Sadie Ross threw a heck of a game, get the no-hitter, and put us in championship Sunday. And that's all you ask. Of course, you're going up against a good team without a doubt, but anything can happen, when you go out there. And our girls competed too, even in that game. We started off the game with a 2-run home run, first 2 batters of the game. That could have very easily went south. And but they continued to battle, compete, and Peyton kept us in the game with 3-0 all the way till the 5th or 6th, I think, before they finally broke it open a little bit more. But anyway, they continued to battle, and that's one thing you can characterize about our kids this year. They're a bunch of fighters.
Yeah.
And led by our 3 seniors, Brooklyn Carter, Amber Tovan, and Casey West, did a great job. They're the glue that holds this together. And so it's a lot of the credit goes to them for holding it together. We kept fighting, and it just wasn't meant to be on that day against a really good Texas team, defending national champs. But again, we got in there, competed and battled, and it was a good way to end the season if you're not going to win the whole thing.
Yeah. Talk about battling. That really showed on Saturday when you're in the losers bracket. You fell to Wisconsin, really tough loss there in the tournament opener. So you're facing elimination. You face Wagner, and like you said, got the no-hitter from Sadie Ross, and then beat Wisconsin, got another shot at them. Those were 2 really gritty wins, weren't they, on Saturday?
Yeah, it really is. And probably, I've been around baseball and softball for a long time. There was another thing that was very rare about that game that I've never experienced before against Wagner. Both head coaches were named Glenn Moore. So Glenn Moore was going to win that game. And so that was really, really a weird thing, because when we're preparing for the tournament, we go back and we look at the roster, who's the coaches and all that. And when Coach Moore came in and said, who the head coach of Wagner is? I said, no, it's this Glenn Moore. I said, get out of here. He goes, no, it is. They showed me. I'm like, this is crazy, So anyway, but yeah, we did. We came out and we challenged. Coach Moore challenged our Coach Moore for Baylor, challenged our girls and said, our pitching staff, and said, hey, Sadie, you and Lexi, y'all need to pitch tomorrow. You're going to pitch game 1. We need to win that. You're going to pitch game 2, Lexi. We're going to win that. We're going to save Peyton as much as we can to get her ready for Sunday. And that's exactly what they did. They went out and competed and battled. Sadie threw a no-hitter. Lexi went out there and gave us some quality innings. We came in and we threw Peyton at the end of that, but a couple innings. So we got to save her quite a bit so she would be as fresh as possible for Sunday. So, and then our bats woke up. They did a good job. It's contagious. And we really left a lot of people on base even then, but we were able to put the pressure on them and let all aspects of the game come out offensively, from the base running, putting pressure on them, getting the hits, but using the small ball, all those kind of things to get us a couple of wins, and again, get you to championship Sunday, which only 32 teams get to championship Sunday, and we were one of those. And so very proud of the girls. And I'll say this too. I think this is the first year that the Big 12's got 7 teams in.
Yeah.
That is big for our league. Big for our league. To me, we need to get all 8 teams in. And they're going to work on that. We're going to probably try to get everybody to go to the conference tournament so everybody can get another win or 2 to get in there. And for us to win, being probably, a 3 seed, if you will, but to win and get to championship Sunday, that shows you that from their decision making, that they did the right thing by getting us in there. They went with the RPI, they went with the strength of schedule. They deserved to get in, and they proved it. So we got to championship Sunday and proved that. And I think that's only going to help us as we move forward into the next year and help the Big 12.
Yeah, very, very good point. And 4 of the 7 are still playing. 4 are moving on into super regionals. 2 of them won on the road, like Arizona State winning in College Station and UCF winning in Tallahassee. I mean, those were some impressive wins.
Yeah, they really are. And you think about UCF's going to a super regional. We beat them 2 out of 3 in their ballpark earlier this year. So I mean, there's such a fine line between winning and losing here. And if you just get to the dance, you just get in there, anything can happen. And it's good to know with 18 freshmen and sophomores on this year's team, they got to experience that. That is going to be critical moving forward for these kids. They got to taste it. They got to taste what it's like to get to championship Sunday. They didn't like the taste in their mouth after the game on Sunday, and that's a good thing moving forward. So hopefully that will motivate them as they go out this summer, get them prepared to come in there and to expect to be there and expect to win and move on to that super regional round next year.
Yeah, and those freshmen, think about all that experience that they got this year, maybe ahead of schedule to like Kagan Marshall. I think about her at third base, all that experience that she got and the other freshmen. How valuable will that be now moving into next year?
Yeah, you can't put a price tag on that. And for Kagan, to come in here and hit 10 home runs as a freshman. And I can tell you this right now, I can think of at least a dozen balls, and I put this on my hit chart all the time. Just missed that. She just missed it and popped it up. And when you're talking about that, you're talking about just a little bit off. But if she's on, she's hitting 24 home runs this year.
Wow.
I mean, that's not improbable for her in the future. She's going to get better. She's going to be she's going to get there. I can see her hitting 20 plus home runs for Baylor in the future, even at Getterman, which is a hard place to hit them out because she's so strong. She's an elite athlete. But yeah, you put that experience with that. There's no better way to grow than to experience it. And they got a chance to do that. And I know they'll be hungry for that. That'll motivate them going through the summer and come out with higher expectations next year. And they know it's not going to be easy. You can tell them until you're blue in the face, hey, pretty good pitcher here. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And they go, okay, yeah. They've been told that their whole life. They go out and they still dominate, whether it's travel ball or Robinson High School or wherever it is. Well, when you get here, these are really pretty good. They're going to locate. They got some velocity. They got some movement. Oh, yeah, and I see what you're saying now.
Right.
So that's the learning that takes place. And so because they failed, they've learned, and they're going to grow from that. It's only going to make them better for next year.
All right, final thought, and we'll let you get back into those meetings. For you, what was a highlight this year? Can you pick one thing, one game, one performance? Maybe it was on the field, maybe it was off the field. Anything top of mind with you as a highlight this year?
I'm going to always go back to the baptisms that we have. I mean, I think to watch these kids grow up spiritually, and we talked about this last night at our final dinner. Amber Tovin came in here. She was a senior. She came in here and she didn't even know the Lord's Prayer when she came here. We finish up every practice. We finish up every game with a prayer. And when somebody prays and then we say the Lord's Prayer, and that's how we finish in that meeting. And the first time we did that, her as a freshman or her first year here, she said, what is that? What's that prayer? And so it lets you know where she was. And for her to grow, for her to be baptized, accept Christ, for her to pray publicly, she prayed in that circle by the time she left. And she actually led Coach Moore when we go on the road, before we get on the bus and head to the field, somebody leads a daily devotional, just really quick word, a verse on your mind. She led one of those too. So to go from nothing to being able to doing all that, it just rewards your heart. I mean, softball, great. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff she did and the other seniors and the freshmen on the field, but that's going to stick with them forever. And those are the things, Leah Cran getting baptized. We had Bella, our manager, get baptized, and I'm afraid I'm leaving somebody else out this year, but we've had 9 or 10 over the last couple of years. Those are the things, those are the memories that I will cherish and I'll remember. To watch them grow spiritually is just been a really big blessing. Well, from that respect, it was a great season. So absolutely. Amen. All right. Appreciate you, Hoot, very much. And take a little break here. You guys have certainly earned it. So take a break, and we appreciate you being with us. Thanks. All right. Thanks, J-Mo. Always a pleasure.